Moodle Assignments, Marking Guides. There are many different options for assignment submissions and grading in Moodle. This video takes you through setting up and marking an assignment using marking guides. Marking guides are an advanced marking option that requires a little more setup than basic marking, but can be extremely useful. Other videos are available that explain setting up an assignment, basic marking, and the marking workflow, as well as other marking options including offline marking and marking using rubrics. Marking guides have to be created when initially setting up or editing your assignment settings. I have here a new assignment being created. Marking guide is turned on here in the grade section. Just use the grading method drop-down and select marking guide. Other options can be set to your usual preferences. When you click Save and Display, rather than taking you immediately to the assignment overview, as would normally happen, you are instead taken to the Marking Guide Setup area. Name your marking guide, add a description for clarity if needed, and you then set your marking criteria. For each criterion, you should set a title, and then one description for students and another for markers. The description for markers may be in greater detail. With a lot of modules, these criteria would be already set out when planning the module. This is just a way of having them online to facilitate online marking and to make sure that they are clearly displayed for students. For each criterion, set the maximum mark. So, as the total grade for this assignment is 100, the sum of all my criteria marks must also be 100. If you think there are likely to be some frequently used comments, you can add them into this section so that when marking later, they can be added with a single click rather than constantly typing out the same thing. Then, decide whether you will be showing the criteria description and marks received for each criteria to the students by selecting these boxes. Click Save. The assignment is now ready for students to submit their work. When students clicked onto the assignment now, they will see the grading criteria set out for them. They can then submit their assignment as usual. When you're ready to start grading, click the View Grade Submission link as usual to be taken to the grading area. Click the tick in the grade column next to the submission you want to mark. From here, you can see an overview of the student's assignment submission and download a copy of their submission as you normally would. The main difference is that rather than a single grade box into which you enter the total mark, you will now see the marking guide that we set up earlier. Graders can simply enter the student's score for each criterion, and Moodle will then add up the total for the overall grade. You can also leave feedback for each criterion. Just type your comments into the individual boxes. You can also use the preset comments as needed for one-click commenting. There is also an option to add feedback files such as an annotated version of the student's essay. You can use this option as well as or instead of adding comments to each criterion. If, when setting up the assignment, you had enabled feedback comments as well, you would also have a box here for entering any overall comments. Finally, simply save and you'll be returned to the grading area ready to mark the next student. When grades are returned to students, they will see the marking criteria with their feedback and total for each area, as well as their overall grade and any feedback files or comments that were added. The marking guide can also be used in conjunction with the marking workflow options, as well as marker allocation or groups. For more information about these options, please see the separate videos.